Well, Saba Saba is a very special day in the political calendar of our country. It was the day when, after so many years of political repression, Kenyans decided to say that enough is enough. That was in 1990. And you remember, those were the days of the single party, Mama and Dada party, GANU. And when Kenneth Matiba had been thrown out as the chairman of KANU in Murang'a, and Charles Rubia, and they decided that the time had come for Kenya to be multi-party. This was following the call by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Bishop of Henry Okulu, and other religious leaders in the country. This also included Masinde Muliro and Martin Shikuku. When they made that press conference, they were condemned by the political establishment of the day as ethnic chauvinists, people who wanted to divide the country along ethnic lines. Then we came together with them and we said that Kenya is ready for multi-party and that we are going to hold a rally at Kamkunji to ask Kenyans if they are ready or not. Because KANU was saying that the country was not cohesive, to take 100 years before the country became cohesive enough to embrace multipartyism. We set the date, 7th of July 1990, Sabasaba, for the rally. Unfortunately, a few days before Sabasaba, Kenneth Matiba, Charles Rubia, Raila Odinga, Paul Muite, Toby Manyara, and John Haminwa were arrested. Me and Rubia and Matiba were sent to political detention, where served for more than 1 year. Kenyans came out on that day, Sabasaba, and marched to the Kamkunji ground. And there were so many GSU officers who had cordoned off the area. The people confronted them and they opened fire. 5 people were killed on that particular day. But from that point onward, there was no going back. The camel's back had been broken. Well, those who were around at that time remember the political repressions those days, the muzzling of the press, the absence of freedom of expression. You could not speak for fear that you would be arrested and detained. Many people were detained without trial those days. Many journalists were also imprisoned for writing articles which were critical to the government of the day. University lecturers were arrested, were in detention. Religious leaders have been intimidated. So Robert Ouko had also been assassinated. There was political assassinations, political detentions, imprisonments, and so on. What has happened is, since that time, the democratic space was opened, because Kenyans eventually managed to rally together to force the government to repeal Section 2A of the Constitution, which had made the country a de jure single-party dictatorship. And the democratic space which we are enjoying today is thanks to Saba Saba, that Kenyans were prepared to stand together in order that they could get their democratic rights. Because, of course, we see a process of trying to cancel the gains which had been achieved by Saba Saba. In other words, after the Saba Saba, there has been a gradual process of institutionalizing democracy in our country. This the high point is the promulgation of the new constitution in 2010. That new constitution was hailed as the most democratic constitution in the world. But what we have seen of late is trying to bastardize the constitution through subsidiary legislations. The parliament is right now very busy passing laws which actually violate provisions of that constitution. You see, for example, the media bill is an example. The Police Service Commission Amendment Bill is another one, which has now given the President the powers to appoint the Inspector General of Police. Yet the Constitution said we wanted an independent police, independent from political influence. The media is being intimidated through the new media bill. There's right now the Land Act amendment, which is again restoring powers to the executive, powers which had been conferred on the National Land Commission in the Constitution, and several others like those. So we are actually sliding back to where we came from. And the Kenyans have a duty and responsibility to protect the liberty which they now enjoy today. That is the reason why we're talking about Sabasaba. Sabasaba, even at that time, we did not take the government. We did not take the government. What we had wanted was liberty in the country, and that we achieved. Right now, the writing is on the wall that the freedom that we have been enjoying is under attack from all angles. They say that prevention is better than cure. Today, for example, the country is under siege. You can see that the insecurity is everywhere. People are dying all over the place. Recently, last year, there was the Westgate attack, where over 60 Kenyans lost their lives. To date, nobody knows who these people were, where they came from, and where they are today. At first, we were told they were 15, then they were 10, then they were 5. We were told that they were killed, but nobody saw the bodies or the corpses of those who had been killed. Then the president promised that he was going to set up a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate that event. That has not been done to date. We have these other attacks which have taken place in Lamu, recently in Peketoni, in Likoni, in Isili, in Kigomba Market, in Mandera, Wajir, in Busia, in Bungoma. Many people have died since the last general elections. More than we lost during the skirmishes of 2008. The insecurity is everywhere, and the government appear to be unable to deal with these issues. Then we have the issues of poverty, issues of unemployment, issues of the high cost of living for an ordinary Kenyan, which the government is incapable of dealing with. We have the issue of the independent and boundaries and electoral commission, whose conduct is highly questionable by Kenyans. Kenyans have lost faith in that body. Then we have, of course, the issues of Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission report, which was prepared after lengthy consultations with the people of Kenya. That report was doctored, and the version which has now been tabled in Parliament is not the original report. We want to know why the report has been doctored, why we can't get that report in its original form and be debated, because it will deal with historical justices in the country and find a permanent solution to some of the contentious issues which are bedeviling this country. Then finally, this issue of inclusivity and peaceful coexistence among the various communities in our country. We have had people fighting, and we must find a solution. The Gabras and the Boranas in Marsabit district, the Garis and the Godias in Mandera and Wajir, the Pokomos and the Orma in Tanaviva district, the indigenous people, the Bijikenda and the upcountry immigrants down there, the Maasais and the Kikuyus, the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus and the Kisis, and so on. So we must find a way of how these various communities in our country can live harmoniously with each other. It is not enough to just say, oh, we have a constitution, we have the laws and so on to deal with these issues. These issues require discourse, require dialogue. That's the reason why we say that there is sufficient agenda for a national dialogue to deal with issues that are besetting the country today, so that we can find a way forward.